Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about the Slim Kim video. I refuse to call it drama because she really didn't say anything rude or offensive. So Kim posted a couple weeks ago a video talking just very simply and quickly about the fact that she likes being slim and she kind of just desires to stay slim for the rest of her life and she doesn't want to gain any weight. And that is 100% her choice. And a lot of this video, a lot of people took offense with it. It went viral on TikTok, and people took offense with it because they thought that Kim was body shaming people who are not skinny. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and then I will come back for further commentary.
My favorite thing to be is skinny. And I fear you cannot say that out loud, but it is my favorite thing to be, and it is my favorite fear to not be. And this is just for me personally. This is all personal to me. But I just wanted to say it out loud because honestly, it's all I think about. It's all I think about. Okay.
So as you can see in the clip, Kim just stated that she likes being skinny and that was it. She didn't make any reference to people who are not skinny. She didn't shame anybody and say other body types are gross or unacceptable. She didn't even say that having a skinny physique is elite or better than anyone else. She just said that that is what she desires for herself. And people took offense to it. This video got over close to 2 million views. And at one point, it even got taken down on TikTok. Of course, Kim appealed and now it's back up for you to go and review. But I noticed that in the Black community, it's okay to kind of make fun of having a slimmer physique. But the moment that you choose to embrace that slimmer physique, it's a problem. You don't even go as far as clowning people who are thick. But the moment that you decide that you want to be skinny, you want to be in shape, you want to embrace your natural slimness, you're always met with, oh, don't body shame, even though you didn't even mention other bodies. Or, you should probably consider eating a little bit more food because men, or they're really talking about Black men, like fuller physiques. It's more acceptable in the Black community to be thick than skinny because having a fuller physique has been normalized. Many people don't understand why it's been normalized. I know that it's just something that we've kind of accepted as a normal part of the Black community because let's face it, the majority, like over 60% of Black women are overweight. But people don't realize that this has been normalized because food is a big part of various Black communities across the diaspora. And food is often used as a comfort mechanism in various Black communities instead of just a means of nutrition or even just bringing people together and creating community. For some people, in the Black community, there's a lot of issues with poverty, with violence, single parent households, mental health issues. And so, one of the things that people use, regardless of race and gender, to sort of get over these things is to overconsume, overindulge, whether that's with substances, alcohol, drugs, or for some people with food. So this was kind of like the acceptable aesthetic, like kind of being full figured because the majority of women were fuller figured. And so if you wanted to fit in, you kind of needed to look like everyone else. And that's kind of the social expectation across racial or ethnic group. If you want to fit into any space, you need to look like everybody else. And so if the majority of Black women are bigger, you need to be bigger as well if you want to be accepted and fit in. Black women kind of naturally have curvaceous bodies. Women of African descent in general. You can even be slim. There's a lot of slim girls who have butts and they have fuller busts. And so that kind of created that slim, thick, kind of skinny BBL aesthetic. They kind of just naturally have that physique without even trying, without even getting any enhancements. And because pop culture kind of commoditized this look and this aesthetic, people who consume pop culture have bought into the idea that this is the aesthetic that they should go for. And if you look at like hip hop music and rap music, for example, in the early 2000s, the girls were very slender, but like they weren't like model-esque thin. They were slender, but they had like a butt and boobs. And so like that was what was acceptable. But as we kind of moved towards like the 2010s up until now, the whole BBL look was the in look, and that was like that for like over 10 years. It was glorified through the Kardashians, Instagram models having the BBL look, from like TV shows like Basketball Wives, Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives, etc. Them all having Real Housewives of Atlanta, them all having that BBL aesthetic. And so girls were, because that was what was commoditized and shown to the masses as the in look, women were going under the knife to get that BBL aesthetic. But now that the trend is shifting again back to the early 2000s aesthetic, and many slim black women are embracing this and celebrating their natural physiques, many black women who don't have this physique are crying fat shaming. And I've even seen someone say that it's white supremacy to aspire for thinness or to just naturally embrace your thin physique and not forcing yourself to want to be thick, which is so ridiculous. But why is it okay to celebrate thickness and not a slimmer physique as well? Like, if you are naturally thick, I think that, and you're confident with that, like, whatever. But if you are naturally thin and you too want to celebrate and be confident in who you are, because despite beauty standards, we tell women all the time that they should be confident in their skin and they should be confident with who they are. But the moment in the black community that you decide that you want to celebrate being a thin girl having a slim physique, it's like you're doing something wrong. If you do not adhere to the status quo, if you essentially do not perform your blackness as a black woman down to what they consider an acceptable form of beauty, you're kind of shaming the acceptable aesthetic. And so that often leads to kind of skinny shaming, where like girls are teased for being skinny. And even up to adulthood, you're kind of called names if you're not thick, or if you don't even have a booty. If you are thin, you're kind of shamed for that. But why is it okay? Why is it not okay to fat shame, but it's okay to skinny shame? Is it because for women who are thicker, you know that outside of the black community, being skinny is more socially acceptable? And so you're aware that skinny privilege is a thing. And you're also aware that you have privilege in the black community being a thicker woman. And so you're trying to hold on to your privilege in the black community by shaming skinny black women for not having the physique that's celebrated within the community. It's like always trying to pull black women who dare to be different, who dare to not be a stereotypical quote unquote black woman back in, even though she's already demonstrated to you guys that she wants to do her own thing. You know, she's not centering you guys anymore. It's like, no, 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 my validation is based on you validating me. So even though you're kind of stepping out of the black community's boundaries and doing your own thing, I'm going to pull you back in. I'm going to hold you down here so that I can continue to shame you for not performing your blackness appropriately. It's because you recognize that if that woman dares step out of the black community, her life will exponentially become better. And because there are more resources outside the black community, and one of the tools and resources that she can use to attain this privilege and to climb the social ladder, the social hierarchy ladder, is her thinness. And you're aware that privilege within the black community really does not hold weight in the grand scheme of things. It really does not get you much except for clout within the black community. And so you try to hinder other women from attaining the privilege that you will have a harder time getting. So you think that playing psychological warfare games on people, making them second guess themselves, is a way to level the playing field instead of you doing the inner work to become better. And if you're successful in that, you then try to wield your privilege over slimmer black women in the black community by shaming them for not having your physique. And so deep down inside, what the real issue is that you envy slimmer black women for having more privilege than you do, because again, on the grand scheme of things, being skinny is what is more socially acceptable in general. It's sort of that crabs in a bucket mentality where when a black woman sees another black woman trying to climb out of the situation, you kind of claw and hold her back down instead of you saying, okay, how can I get myself out of the situation as well? Because clearly it's not working for us down here and I want to improve my life. And so, in your mind, improving your life is just to bring someone else down who's trying to do better for themselves so that you can kind of just be miserable together, not have to do the inner work, not have to be held accountable. And Miss Thing, who thinks that she's better than you, actually isn't better because she ended up falling right back down to where you are. This is a reality that a lot of black women grapple with, especially considering the fact that having a larger physique is preferred by men with a lower socioeconomic status, which is also why a lot of black women are not motivated to become skinnier, because a lot of black women are black male identified, so they want black male validation. And so, because poor black men prefer them being thick, it's spoken about in rap music, all the way on the macro level, all the way down to just being celebrated in your local community for being thick. It's kind of like, okay, well, even though these men treat me like garbage, 9 times out of 10, I'm getting validation by them praising my thickness. And so there really is no incentive for me to try to lose weight because, again, a lot of black women, their main objective is to serve black men and put their needs before their own. Whereas in other communities, men with higher socioeconomic statuses, actually including black men, they tend to have wives who are fit. And so that's what they prefer. Okay, look at any celebrity, any millionaire, billionaire, or just drive in more affluent neighborhoods, you will see a stark difference. Most of those women are fit. If you'll see them walking in the neighborhoods, walking their dogs, strolling the children around, going for a run, or they're on their way to the gym, Pilates, whatever. Affluent women who are bigger, they tend to marry down because that's what they can get. And, sorry if that hurts your feelings, but, I'm not making the rules. I'm just stating the facts. Men who are once poor, they end up leaving the women that they were with when they were poor for slimmer women once they get some money, because slimmer women are a status symbol and bigger lovers from the past are just a reminder of when they weren't at their best. Okay, look at men like Jesse Williams, that actor, how he treated his baby mom. She's bigger. He kind of left her as soon as he got some money, even though she helped him level up in his career, his acting career. And now to the point that he refuses to take care of the children that he had with her. If you look at 50 Cent, Kevin Hart, like Kevin Hart's ex-wife was not big, but she was not slender. But the moment that they got some money, they kind of went for the aesthetic that they wanted all along. I remember being teased growing up for being tall and lanky. I was called Daddy Longlegs and was teased for not having a bum in high school. And so I remember trying to gain weight in order to fit in with the community. God forbid I spoke up, I was seen as the aggressor if I kind of like defended myself, or if I decided one day that no, I'm going to embrace my physique. The ghetto blacks would kind of be like, oh, you think you're all that? I remember I was in this one friend, quote unquote, I use that term very loosely, group. It was this one black girl, this one Indian and Native American girl, and then this one Chinese girl. And those girls would kind of tease me whenever I loved on myself, whenever I was confident because I didn't have low self esteem. And the black girl would kind of be the ringleader in teasing me. And she would kind of like, instead of kind of adhering to the sister code, if you will, and saying, yo, like, what is it to you if she feels good about herself? What is it to you if she styles herself well? She would kind of like edge them on and give them permission to disrespect me. Oh, I remember one day in high school I had enough and I was like, yo, you know what? I'm done with you guys. Like, I don't F with you guys. F all of y'all. And they were kind of just ragging on me all together. And I remember just blowing up on her specifically, on all of them, but like her specifically, because it's like, you're supposed to have my back type of thing. But instead, you're perpetuating this kind of ghetto narrative and you're allowing women who don't look like us to do the same thing to me as well. And so that was kind of my first introduction to how the Black community thinks and how Black people will also kind of invite others to disrespect you as well. And so that was kind of something that I had to negotiate and grapple with. Like, do I want to be accepted by the community, or do I want to be true to myself and love on myself? And if you're someone who is in high school or maybe in middle school and you're dealing with this same thing, please choose yourself, because this really is like a form of body dysmorphia, and it can also lead to kind of unhealthy eating disorders where you're trying to stay skinny, but you're also trying to like grow the aesthetic that you're trying to grow a butt and have that aesthetic that you're told you're supposed to have. That can lead to health problems. So if you are naturally slim, like, play up on that, realize the social benefits that come with that, and hang around people where that is glorified, where that is accepted. I remember having a friend in university, her family's from Barbados, and I remember one time she broke down in class during a presentation because she was sharing her experience of not being able to attract a Black man because she was slim. Like, this girl, to this day, she still like has a very model-esque body. I think she was like at least a size 0, like maximum. She could be on magazine covers back then if she really wanted to. But because she glorified, again, Black men's opinion, she glorified the Black community's opinion, she allowed this not being able to fit into this beauty standard to play on her self-esteem to the point that like she ended up breaking down in front of a bunch of strangers. And I felt so bad for her at the time. And I remember telling her, like, you would be able to catch a non-Black man, if you were open to that. And she was like, oh no, I don't want that. I only want Black men, and the fact that I can't get one because I'm not thick is making me sad. And I'm just thinking to myself, girl, like, first of all, like, you're university educated, like, and now she's gone on to like have a very good, well-paying job. The type of Black men that you would attract are like, sorry to say, like low tier Black men who have lower socioeconomic statuses, who are not on par with you. So you're really limiting yourself by choosing to stay within this one bubble. And the Black men that end up getting more money, they end up going after women who have slimmer physiques from other races of women. So it's like the goalpost is constantly being moved and you're constantly trying to catch up to it, when you can just realize the privilege that you have right now, tap into that pretty privilege, and gain access to so many better resources without having to go through these mental Olympics to prove that you're worthy. Honestly, like, even women like her, there's so many women like her that I hear that are shamed for being skinny. I've seen girls who like are from the Caribbean who are just like so beautiful, like so skinny and like beautiful, but then because they want to be accepted by the community, they end up like forcing themselves to gain a gang of weight, or they end up becoming baby moms to a bunch of losers. But they honestly could have used their slim privilege to make money as a model and meet great men who aren't thugs, and like men who will love and respect and value them. A lot of modeling agencies, they like to look outside of North America for talent, outside of Europe as well. They like to look for a different aesthetic that you can't normally get from like mainstream modeling industry. So a lot of South Sudanese women, for example, are targeted. Women from the Caribbean, like Naomi Campbell, she's from Jamaica, they're targeted because they have a different look, not just in terms of skin tone, but just the facial features that you can't get from white models or even Asian models. They love that. And so they want to commoditize that and make money off of it. You should also tap into that and make money off of your natural aesthetic as well. Anyway, as I got older, I learned to embrace my slim physique because that's who I am naturally. And so I was there by staying true to myself. But then I also realized that bigger Black women who shame me were actually jealous of the fact that I had something that they didn't, which was skinny privilege on top of having pretty privilege, being smart, being raised in a middle class family, like all these things. The more privilege that you have in the Black community, and when I say privilege, I mean like status quo, general population privilege, not Black privilege, that is going to piss off a lot of Black folks who do not have that, which is also why bullying skinny girls is so common, and which is also why there's so much pushback on Slim Kim's video and others like her, accusing her of body shaming and trying to adhere to European beauty standards, when it's like, my goodness, like, it's not only European people who are skinny or who are in shape. Like, knock it off. Stop normalizing being overweight. When most of y'all were younger, you were skinnier, but because over time, with poor eating habits, with poor lifestyle choices, you've gained weight, but you're still the same person that you were back in the day. If you commit to adopting a healthier lifestyle, you can go back to that physique or even close. Even despite you having children, you can go back to a healthier, slim weight. There are many women across many races who do so, especially in the Asian community. They have like a lot of postpartum rituals that are embedded. Like they call it, one of the terms that they use is called sitting the month, where either the mother-in-law, the mother, or they hire someone like a birth nanny, if you will, postnatal nanny, to come in and create meals that are going to nourish the body. They do belly binding. They prioritize rest and relaxation, but you're not having, like greasy, heavy foods that are going to go to your body more than they are going to nourish you. But this is something that just doesn't exist in the Black community. Like self-care in general is not prioritized for Black women. And so it's like a foreign concept to even understand that you can be a healthy weight post childbirth. Even in pop culture, women who once glorified being bigger and called it like the body positivity movement, women like Lizzo, Amy Schumer, Monique, Rebel Wilson, they realized that there is more privilege associated with being skinny, despite them once promoting again body positivity. And so now they're committed to losing weight and being healthier because they see that being overweight is a drawback, especially in their careers. A lot of them found their success in pushing kind of the bigger girl narrative, like Lizzo, Amy Schumer, Monique. They would kind of make jokes or like songs about being bigger. And they did well for like a couple years. And then after a while, it kind of plateaued because the jokes kind of stopped being funny. It's like, okay, yeah, we've heard these jokes already. We've seen these monikers already, like, not funny. Like, give us something fresh. And so they also realized that people who kind of laughed at their jokes were not really laughing with them, they were laughing at them. It's like you're kind of like the court jester that would come in and entertain. And then once the act got boring, you either had to find a new act to entertain to keep your audience engaged, or they would just bring in fresh talent to laugh at their jokes again until they were finished with them. They realized, a lot of these actresses, they realized that if they wanted to enhance their careers and stop limiting the potential of their careers, they had to be smaller. Even TikToker Jessica Alford admits to this, that she felt as if she was limiting her career options by being bigger. And this was also, again, back when, before Jessica Alford was like the classy aesthetic influencer that we know now presently, she kind of fed into the BBL kind of hood aesthetic. You can't really find that many images of her previously, but she has kind of shared her story a few times, so you can go on her TikTok and find where she shared. But she did have that hood classic, and now that the tide is changing and going towards the skinny aesthetic, she's trying to remain relevant with her audience and capitalize off of that. She naturally has a bigger physique, which again, not everyone is going to be real thin. Okay. There are different dynamics that are at play in determining body type. Genetics is another thing, but you still can have a bigger physique and be at a healthy weight, like Serena Williams. Serena Williams is a naturally muscular woman. She probably weighs more than the average woman, but she's healthy because she has a low body fat percentage, which is essentially what contributes to having a healthier physique. Which is a good segue to my next point. Striving to be skinny it's not only about striving for an aesthetic, but it's also about health. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, 60% of Black women are overweight, and that number is growing across all races, honestly, but more so for Black women due to the glorification of what you guys call big back culture. So overeating, kind of laziness, not taking accountability, which is also leading to an increase in health issues such as cancer, fibroids, polyps, diabetes, high blood pressure, infertility, etc. So I say all this to say, if you're skinny or you once had a smaller physique, or even if you didn't have a physique, even if you have a physique like Serena Williams where you are muscular, your objective should be to get as healthy as possible, regardless of what your body type looks like, okay? There are no excuses. Um, you should embrace your natural physique, take back your skinniness if you have it, okay, regardless of your age, whether or not you had children. Yes, these things can impact you, but it is not a deal breaker because there are many, again, fit older women and mothers, okay? Remember that the way to achieve this is that you need to maintain a healthy diet, maintain a healthy lifestyle, don't overeat. It's about calories in and calories out, okay? So do not eat more than you burn if you would like to maintain your physique or even lose weight. Prioritize your wellness. It's also good for your mental health. And to be honest, when you look better, any woman who has lost weight, even if she previously would die on the hill of body positivity, once she kind of snaps out of that, and Monique is a prime example of this. She used to clown skinny Black women all the time until she started to lose weight. They will tell you that they start to feel better about themselves when they lose weight and they look more fit and slender. Okay? So embrace it. Don't make excuses. You know, you can do this. Get away from people who have this sort of crabs in a bucket mentality where it's like, oh, don't lose weight, stay big. It's not going to benefit you. And I'm telling you the truth. Those women are just trying to level the playing field by getting you to stay big. But the moment that they could trade places with you and maybe have your genetics, your physiques, or the moment that they just lose weight in general, they would do it and then kind of wield that privilege over you. So take power, take ownership and control of your image, and watch how people respond to you in the future. All right, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think about this topic down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.